All right, you guys, we got another live. Please subscribe to the channel, man. We got to get into this live, man. The danger of dismantling the Department of Education, man. As we've seen Congress pass another bill, man. You know, if it ain't one problem, it's always another, man. Big shout out to Roland Martin, man. Big shout out to this brother right here, man. Wait till you guys, time in. As you guys, time in, share this video, subscribe to this channel, man. We definitely gotta talk about this, man. Congress is signing these laws, man, on how they cracking in and cutting down on education, job cuts. There's a lot of things going on, man. Trump and Elon Musk want to, resegregate America. Trump's solution is making America great again, but when it comes to America being great again, it's talking about a minority people. As you see, Black African American people being segregated. So, like I said, you guys, as you guys come in here, man, please share this live. Please subscribe to this channel, man. The danger of dismantling the Department of Education. As Congress passed these bills, man, and this legislation, man. Like I said, fam, if it ain't one problem, it's always another, fam. Big shout out to Roland Martin, man. Big shout out to this brother, man. As you guys come in here, man, please share the live. Welcome to another live. Welcome to another live. As you guys come in here, welcome to another live. Big shout out to Roland Martin, man. Definitely got to get into this video, man. What Trump and Elon Musk is up to, they want to depopularize the population, man. They want to segregate Black African American people, man. As Trump is wanting to make America great again, man. Now we got to roll this clip, go into this video. I want to give you guys an index of what's going on, man, as the danger of dismantling Department of Education, man. This is some sad news, man, as Congress just passed a bill, man, and they cutting down jobs, they're cutting on the education department. What's next, man? Now, let's roll this video, man. Hope you guys enjoy the live, share the live. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys hit the like button.
Rodriguez, of course, is president of the National Parents Union. She joins us right now. Carrie, glad to have you here. Yes, that's me. Let's talk about these cuts, Carrie. People do not understand how devastating this is going to be. And these folks in these red states like Tennessee, they get $1.6 billion from the federal government. What the hell do they think is going to happen?
I don't know. They're cutting their nose off to spite their face here. And I think it's going to hit them where it hurts really hard, because I don't even know. I think they understand fully the pain that is coming their way. When you have a red state that relies 25% of your budget, 30% of your budget to fund your special education programs, like, you're going to be in a whole world of pain when these cuts come down. And there are going to be a lot of angry mamas marching into those offices to raise holy hell, I'll tell you that much.
You're absolutely right. And the thing here that I keep trying to explain to people is that they make this statement that, we should just send the money right to the states. But the reality is, we see what's happening with these voucher scams as well, where they actually going to try to hold that money back. And then if you talk about sending to the states, well, if you send it to these red state governors, that money's not necessarily going to go to the school district where they're most needed.
Well, spent 5 years practicing for this moment, right? We sent all of this ESSER money, this ARP money down to the states, and we didn't get to the academic outcomes that we were looking for. And now we're going to put this on steroids. And once again, try to trust these folks that just wasted about $180 billion in federal funding, that all of a sudden they're going to find Jesus and do the right thing. I think you're crazy if you think that. So I would also caution people, do we remember what it was like 40 years ago, 46 years ago, before we had the U.S. Department of Education? There's a reason why we...
Let me say this to you guys. She's not lying. Families is going to be puzzled as to where to send their, children for schooling, man. At this point, families going to be very concerned. And as you see it, children today, they're going to be so fed up that they don't want this American educational system. Because it's a new world that they want. So you're going to see in a madness, they're going to destroy houses, textbooks, schools, colleges, and university. And you're going to see the school teachers are in great danger. I'm doing fine. What's up, my boy? Oh, what's up? What's up with you, King? But we're going to see when it comes to the young, teen, these kids is not going to want this educational system. Because anytime when it comes to America teaching this sexual indoctrination, this ideologically, families, you see, will be puzzled as to where to send their children for schooling. So let's get back to this video. I thank you guys for tuning into this live, but let's get to this video. Let's see what she's saying here.
Establish this, because back then, we had schools that could choose not to educate our kids. Like, we have never seen relief in terms of education and equity and getting our kids education justice unless parents have gone to the courts and sued and gotten federal injunctions to open up doors so that we could get our kids into classrooms. Now, going back then, when we think about it, 46 years ago, if you were blind, if you were deaf, if you had Down syndrome, if you had autism, they could decide they just did not want to educate your kid. It was too expensive, they didn't have the program, and they could just kind of shrug their shoulders and decide, well, your kid's not going to get access to a free and appropriate public education. If you don't fund these schools, the programs won't exist. And if you don't fund the mechanism by which we hold these systems accountable for their responsibility in educating our children, they're not going to do it. And we have a legacy of doing this to our children, especially Black and Latino children in this country. And we're just walking right back into it.
Here, they also are advancing a lie. They have created this narrative that the problem with education in America is the Department of Education. But 90% of the education funds in America come from the state and local governments. The money's not coming from D.C. So this idea that the problem with education in America is the federal Department of Education is an absolute lie.
Well, I'll tell you something, Roland. I've devoted my entire career to being a critical friend of education because, we at the National Parents Union, I love public education, not like a 5-year-old loves their mommy, where she's so right and she's the most beautiful and she can do no wrong. We have a lot of work to do in public education to make it better, to make it more equitable, to get our kids to be more globally competitive so that they can get to economic mobility, all of those things. But the idea that the states and the districts don't have any responsibility, these are the guys that decide, how rigorous the curriculum actually is, what standards are going to be required to graduate from high school. They have never done this well on the state level, which is why we have had to fight to get protections on the federal level so that parents could sue them, so that we could go to the Office of Civil Rights and demand justice. And now they want to take all of that away because all they want to do is push all this money right down to the states so that they can set up these voucher schemes where you're basically going to end up with choices that aren't worth choosing. And folks that can deny our kids access to education is take your money and then and the graduate.
You see what they're doing? The budget cuts, the money is now coming from Washington. You see how Congress easy, you know what I mean, passing these laws to cut down education, man, to cut down jobs and cut down these things, man, so they can pocket up this money, man. So when it comes to our young children, they don't have a future here. They don't have a bright education. See, a lot of kids, you'll find out that they won't be able to graduate, man, because of the lack. When it comes to our world leaders and governments, want to cut down the educational expense. They want to cut down the budget. It's sad, man. It's sad. This is sad.
And kids that aren't even literate and aren't ready for the jobs and the economy of the future. None of it makes sense. And frankly, the long-term impacts that we see from this mess in 10 or 15 years, it's going to land us in a world of hurt.
But also what's happening, and this is what I'm trying to get people to understand, these Republicans want to have massive cuts to...
Look, it's not 15 years. It's not 20 years. We don't have long, you guys. We don't have long. You know, when we look at Trump vows to dismantle Department of Education, when we look at Trump vows to dismantle deportation, sending legal immigration back to their country, when we see Trump vows to dismantle running and depopulate the population, when we see that Trump and Elon Musk is vowed to dismantle Black American rights, as we see that they plan is to, you know, and segregate Americans.
Pell Grants as well. So I'm sitting here in the Uber head to the office, and you just said one of your sons dropped out of college because he couldn't afford it. Yep. So this Uber driver says that whole deal. That's the case for a lot of African American students, especially going to HBCUs. That people who go their first and second year, but they can't afford to stay.
You see that people go to the ACU, right? They can't even afford. They can't afford college tuition. Black people can't afford education because they want to cut down the budget cost of education and make it hard for people like Black Americans to further education, man. And this is causing a lot of angry Americans, parents, man. See, this is wicked on a white American part. You know, when they can secretly pass a bill to cut down education, cut down jobs. You seen Trump send an executive order to, you know, deport, you know what I mean, deport legal immigration. You know, Trump had deportation migrants, legal immigration. What's next?
If Republicans pass this massive bill to give tax breaks to super rich, they are going to drastically slash Pell Grants, and you're going to see hundreds of thousands of young folks drop out of college because they're not going to be able to afford it. If they start making cuts to financial aid, then they're screwed. And so people need to understand this. What are your parents saying? Are parents really prepared for this fight that we're about to have on our hands?
No, I don't think any of us are prepared. I think that we are overwhelmed. We're struggling to understand why this administration has decided not just to attack our kids on the issue of education, but it's on all fronts. I mean, it's economically.
This, brothers and sisters, this got out of control. They trying to stop your children from having a bright future. They do anything to stop our children from having an education. Now, kids is going to be dropping out from school. And like I said, man, this is the real reason I don't really have sympathy for this country of America. Because while we looking over on our left hand side, they doing things on the right hand side, and it's like we don't even know what's going on. It's like we puzzle. We don't know what's going on. And at the end of the day, you know, I'm looking at this whole thing. America just don't give a damn. And that's why sooner or later she's gonna suffer severe consequences. And this is the reason why I feel the way I feel, y'all. Because white America have not done nothing in the past centuries. They have done nothing but lie to American people. People are living on dreams. These lies that they told you. It's just sad to see now that the children's here in America, your children's, our children's, don't have a future. They're doing all these things, cutting down, you know what I mean, unemployment rate, cutting down education, cutting down jobs. If it's not one problem, then another.
When it comes to our safety in this nation, when it comes to education, when it comes to fundamental things. Like, I get calls from parents right now who are terrified that their Medicaid is going to be cut, that they're not going to have access to feeding tubes that their children need to survive, that they're not going to have access to insulin that their children need to survive. What is going to happen to Head Start? Am I going to be able to have my child in Head Start so that I can go to work? Or am I going to lose my job because I don't have this program, because these folks take care of my baby so that I can hold it down in my own home? Like, what this feels.
You see that? They cutting down the education. You got to imagine if you got kids, fam, in this United States, fam, and you send your kids for tutoring, after school programs, they cutting that off to millions of Americans. If you got work that you got to go during the time your children's in these after school programs, you know, they cause millions of Americans, parents. Sooner or later, you're going to see parents angry. And what else they not telling us?
absolute attack on American families at every single angle. And the shock and awe that they had planned for us, I don't think any of us could have been prepared for this. Like, this is a catastrophic moment.
But here's the deal here, Carrie. I'm going to go to my panel next with their questions. I saw this news report, and I think it may have been CBS or ABC, I can't remember. Well, they were in Kentucky, and that was this woman who was a teacher, and she said, yes, I voted for Trump, but I didn't vote for this. And I'm like, yes, you did. They literally said in Project 2025 what they were going to do. And I don't know what these people were thinking. We were warning people for 3 years. And when I keep hearing, well, I know they said it, but I didn't really think they were going to do it. Well, guess what? They're doing it. And people need to understand it's happening. Massive layoffs on the federal level are happening. They want to drive through massive cuts on entitlements. They want to dismantle the Department of Education. They want to completely gut the federal government. So anybody out there who is saying,
look, man, they want to master the danger of dismantling the Department of Educational system. They want to cut the educational system. They want to, cut your income tax. They want to cut your jobs. You know why? They want to do all this because they want you to look up to them. They want you to rely on them. So when you get upset and you can't handle it and you go insane, then they going to say, yeah, we got it. See, they keep poking. And they keep poking because they want you to get angry. They playing chess. They got the checker piece waiting for us to respond. Because if you don't respond, they're going to continue to keep doing it.
well, I didn't think they're going to go this far. They are going all the way unless the people rise up and say, hell no.
Well, I got to tell you, we brought in a group of parents from the red states to go into the Senate Health Committee to have conversations with their red state senators right before the Linda McMahon hearing to have these tough conversations. These are folks that have Section 8 benefits, that have SNAP benefits, that have kids that are on Medicaid, that are kids who go to Title I schools, like kids that are on IEPs that are going to be impacted. This is a full-scale assault on American families right now and the most vulnerable. And frankly, it's these red states. As we started off this conversation, Roland, you hit it on the head. Like, you're hurting yourselves. Folks that live in blue states, they're going to be all right. If they get a 6% cut in their federal education funding, they'll figure it out. These are rich and wealthy states where they're not going to be hit as hard. If you're in Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, all of these places, like, you are going to be hit so in such devastating ways. And I'm hearing the same thing from a lot of families as well, folks that said, I didn't understand that this was going to tear apart or put in danger my kid's IEP. I had no idea that this was going to hurt my kid's Head Start program, or I was going to lose SNAP, or my Section 8 was going away, or like any of these other issues. So I think there's a lot of...
You see what I'm saying? This gonna bring millions of America to lose their jobs, to have to make these rational decisions, man. Where they put their children in Head Start, where they put their children in these after-school programs, man. This gonna mess a lot of millions of American, families, parents. It's gonna mess a lot of American people up, man. Because I always say, man, the white man put the whole American people in a hole, man. You know what I mean? A bear pokes, man. They pokes and you know they cause a lot of millions of Americans angry. Why play these kind of games with American people, man? We ain't got time to be playing games, man. How long they gonna be playing these games, man? First is Joe Biden. Now we get a new president. We get Trump. We get Trump back in president. You know what I mean? And it's just like the same that you know what I mean. The same games they've been playing. They've been playing the biggest games that they've been playing, man. We as American people, we tired of this bullshit. And I pray that God kill the oppressors, kill the opposition, man. Because this thing here, man, this thing here, man, is just getting way out of hand. It's getting way out of hand. They want us to feel this way. So that way they feel that they got us, man. But a time is coming out, and I believe in a God that's coming to destroy. And should nobody have any sympathy for white America for what they doing to American people? Cutting your interest rates, cutting taxes, cutting your education, cutting jobs. What's next? The cost of food is high in grocery stores, man. What's next, man? We don't got time for game playing. We don't got time for these punk ass bullshit games that white America been playing on American people, man. We just don't got time. We don't have time. Enough is enough, and we don't have time to be playing these goddamn games.
Folks out there with voter remorse, and unfortunately, they're going to end up learning the hard way through this one.
Well, many of those parents, they voted. I said it. They voted for whiteness. They voted for culture. They voted for God, gays, and guns. And now they about to F around. They effed around, and they're about to find out. Rebecca Carruthers is vice president for the Fair Election Center, joining us out of D.C. Melinda Hill is with the Black Voices Heard Project out of Los Angeles. Glad to have both of you here. Rebecca, what's your question for Kerry Rodriguez of the National Parents Union?
Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. So just like Roland said, a lot of the issues are going to go back to the state because that's where the funding formulas are determined for public education in our country. There is approximately 30,000 school board races that are up in 2025, and there's going to be even thousands more up in 2026. What is your organization doing, if anything, to help recruit people to run for those school board seats?
So we are not doing direct recruitment, but we're working with a lot of mama organizations that are, including directly in Florida, in Georgia, in California, in Mississippi, in Missouri. I could kind of go through the list, but there are a lot of mamas right now who are on the case and actively recruiting, because we think that that is going to be one of the critical points of resistance. Because having to figure out and make these tough decisions for our kids based on those cuts, and having to be the ones responsible for prioritizing, we know if we don't have the right people in place, our priorities are not going to be heard. And it's the folks that are in the arena, the folks that can step up and advocate for their kids to get their piece of the pie that are going to make out. If we move to a block grant as a way from formula funding kind of guarantees that your kids are going to get their piece of the pie, at least to some degree. If we move to block grants, it's going to be, it's going to be a feeding frenzy. Like whoever has the most political power is going to walk away with their biggest slice of the pie. So we got to make sure that we are building that political power, and we're doing that on the local level. And there are organizations right now that are doing everything they possibly can to get the right folks, frankly, parents and families that have.
I'm going to say it like this, because I'm not going to drag this video too long, fam. The families is puzzled. The children don't even want this American education system. They are bound to destroy their textbooks, schools, colleges, and universities. And you're going to see more of these teachers that's going to be in danger. And the family's going to be puzzled as to where to send their children for schooling. Because nowadays you're seeing all, you know what I mean, you're seeing all, you know what I mean, all girls are sweethearts. Girls with girls and boys with boys, and federal penitentiary that they build in these concentration camps is filled by dozens of homosexuals. When we talk about this ideologically, this sexual indoctrination, families is puzzled today as to where to send their children for schooling. So, like I said, I wasn't going to drag this video out, but it's a new educational system that our children are looking for. So, in other words, it's a new world that we're looking for. Families is angry because we got these world leaders, these rulers, want to do anything, want to dictate. But the time is coming when we will be able to do the same things to them. See, it's entirely up to them to make good this day. And I'm going to leave it, you know what I mean? Because, brothers and sisters, you have to know it's entirely up to them to make good this day. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. But till next time, you guys, I'll be back with another video. Out.